the thoughts and general meaning as being inspired and not the words. Now this makes an incredible difference. He therefore feels free to disregard the strict rules of translation and add his own interpretation whenever it suits him. And nobody can criticise him because he said, look, it's not verbally inspired, it's only dynamically inspired. He doesn't need to have the technical knowledge of either the original language or the receiving language, as the principle of good, better, best no longer applies, and he hasn't got the skill to work it out anyway. He can just use any words that conveys the dynamic as he sees it. So this gives him a license to interpret or paraphrase as he chooses. And so he's not governed by the rules. So what he says is really what he thinks, right? That Christians would tolerate this form of translation of the Bible is an indictment of the Christianity of our day. Certainly any translation that is the result of dynamic equivalence is inferior in every way to one that is the result of verbal equivalence and cannot be considered the best. So understand that verbal equivalence gives a superior translation to dynamic equivalence every time, a far, far superior translation. Having looked at these two options for translators, we can easily understand the superiority of a translation which is the result of the use of verbal equivalence. Why then are there so many translations of the Bible available currently that are obviously the product of dynamic equivalence? Is it to do with scholarship? No, it's not to do with scholarship. The scholars who are producing these Bibles translations that are coming out all the time now know a lot better than what they're doing. So is it to do with the textual issue? No. Is it to do with the skill of the translations? No. Well then what is behind it? It is to do with money. That's what it's all about. To be able to obtain commercial copyright on a new Bible version, it must be provably different to all other versions. If you want to write a new version of the Bible, you can. And you'll make a lot of money out of it too. And that's why people are doing it. But to be able to obtain commercial copyright on a new Bible version, it must be provably different to all other versions. You must be able to go to court and say, mine is different to the others. Let us understand this matter of copyright. Is the King James Version subject to copyright? Yes, it's subject to Crown copyright, but it's not subject to commercial copyright. All other versions of the Bible are subject to commercial copyright, but are not subject to Crown copyright. So what's the difference? We need to clearly understand this. Crown copyright, anyone can copy it, no one can change it. Anyone can copy it, no one can change it. And so no one can stop you copying the King James under any circumstances, but you can't change it, right? Commercial copyright, anyone can change it, but no one can copy it. And that's what's needed for all those new versions to happen, right? If you want to make money out of it, you've got to have something that no one else can copy. They couldn't make their money out of the King James because people were copying it and giving it away for nothing. And the companies couldn't make their big money. But once they got commercial copyright on it, they can change it to anything they like and copyright it and then sell it and make their money on it. The Bible is the best-selling book in the world, and millions of dollars profit can be made simply by producing a new version. Hardly any new version has been a failure. A couple have, but mostly not, and there's over 100 available at the moment. To produce a new version, which is the product of verbal equivalence, and gain copyright on it is not possible anymore, as this has already been done. So, for a translator to cash in on this opportunity for profit, he must turn to dynamic equivalence in translating any modern version. It depends on the naivety of the Christian community to accept his inferior translation. It'll come out and it'll say on it, this is the best, the latest and the greatest, the best research, the best of everything, and people will buy it, but it's about money, right? This is the driving force behind the whole debate regarding the different versions of the Bible. It's not a scholarship issue, and it's not a translation issue, and it's not a textual issue. It's a money issue. It's a copyright issue. This matter of new versions is governed by the corporations who print and sell these new versions. And these aren't Christians. These are businessmen. They produce Playboy and all the pornography and all of these other things, and they produce Bibles as well. It's a matter of big business. It involves millions and sometimes billions of dollars. The NIV has made $16 billion profit for Zondervan, and it's big money like that. Many scholars are only too willing to compromise their beliefs regarding inspiration in order to cash in on the golden opportunity that the new versions have provided. In an objective evaluation of this subject, it is essential that we are aware of these facts, as they are the overriding force that drives the version debate. It's not about the King James. It's not about which version you use. It's not about the translation. It's not about scholarship. It's not a textual issue. It's about money. And we'll leave that lesson there.